and welcome everyone to the second episode of the Book of Boba Fett Spoilercast. Obviously for episode 2, as always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter at 692tweets, and of course, I am joined by Sean.
Hey, you can join me at Marvel the Martian _12 on Instagram, and you still haven't had it. You can't get that into a groove with talking about
No, it's weird.
I missed the whole. Like, it sounded like a music note when you said the last your old one. So you'll get there. Don't worry. I'm sure.
I always find myself really monotone when I'm talking, but certain things I always like go up. Like my laugh goes up, and when I talk, it's like 692. I don't know why I do it. It's just a thing I've done, and it's.
I don't feel like I've been told that I sound like a girl on the other end. I don't know. So,
I'd really question. Well, to be fair, girls can sound whatever they sound like, but I'd question the hearing of people.
Sometimes I don't like listening to myself on. I never listen to any of the podcasts we've done. So like
Oh no! When people are like, "Oh, but you said this," I'm like, "Did I? Cool, I forgot." I don't just.
Thanks for reminding me.
It's like, please, just send me the clip because I'm not going to go dredging through my own monotone droll voice to find this thing. If I said it. Cool.
Plus, I'm not a very elegant speaker either. So.
Oh, I can wait. But I did actually contemplate flipping my Twitter handle around to tweet 692, and I was like, no, because then that ruins the flow. The name on the account is Mitch, and then it's at 692, so I still got the continuity there. But it's just like, it'll work.
It'll work out eventually.
If not, people will get used to it. Go over it. So yeah, episode 2 of the Book of Boba Fett.
I hear nothing but not kind things about it.
It's not bad. I feel it's dragging its feet.
Yeah,
I honestly, this is the first Star Wars show. Obviously, it's only been 3, so it's not really hard to do. But I feel like this is the one that's wasting time for a big reveal.
I hear a lot of complaints about the flashbacks being a little.
They're boring. I'm gonna say that they're boring. This week bored me to teeth. Like, it's not bad. There's some interesting bit. Like, it's nice that the Tusken Raiders have been fleshed out a little bit, and the whole gaffy stick, and like the psychedelic lizard that launches itself up your snoz. Like, didn't see that coming. It's an interesting little world building bit, but it's like I'm not here for it. Like, I don't need to see how he got the black robes that he was wearing at Mando when we met him again. It's like Star Wars has this insufferable need to explain every single kin detail, and
well, hold on. To play devil's advocate, the fans a lot of times.
I mean, yes, the fan. The Star Wars, Star Wars culture and fan base as a whole is like, oh, this needs to be explained. I need to know how this works. It's like it's an inherent problem that's happened, and it is unfortunate. But it's like, Star Wars as a whole is not only stuck in the same time period. We can't physically escape from the stuff we know, but it's stuck having to explain everything. It's just like.
Well, I'll give you this though. Is like not as exciting as you want it to be at the very beginning, only because of the flashbacks. There are positives and negatives, but I think at the end of the day, I think it suffers because of the flashbacks, because it just seems like it's like, and not to say, and like I'm saying clearly, I'm saying this as a fan because like I am a Star Wars fan, but like I agree with you. To a certain extent on that. I honestly, I kind of liked it. I think you could have done it in one episode instead of 2. Like you could have started out with the first episode with kind of, the flashback that goes.
I think I said this last week as well. My entire issue would be solved if we hadn't already spent so much time with Boba Fett in Mandalorian, and him actually having an arc to get to where he's supposed to be and what this show was marketed for.
Mm-hmm.
It's we spent Mandalorian season 2 just it comes out. He was like, "Hey, here's Boba Fett. He's different now. Let's move past it." But now we're going back, and it's like, no, we have to explain everything. It's just like we don't need. Like the one flashback you could have used was just literally him getting out the Sarlacc pit. We know everything else after that. It's fine. We don't need all this train heist stuff.
To be fair, though, season 2, I mean, The Mandalorian wasn't about Boba Fett. I think Boba Fett was kind of
no, it wasn't, but it gave him a lot of stuff. You know, he's had more character development in
Oh no, for sure.
Has in this
but
one.
I think I think did they over-explain it for 2 episodes? Sure. I think you could, like I said, you could have combined those flashbacks from both episodes into one episode.
Like the worst bit about this one is the whole train heist is half an hour long. Like that gives you 20 minutes of everything else. Like just cut, and you don't need the train.
I like the train scene personally because it gives it kind of explains like how could the train scene be a little bit shorter? Sure. I think it's fun to watch the montage of him training these sand people how to do use the swoop cycles and but I still go back to the fact that this could have been one episode.
100%. Yeah.
End it where it is, and then episode 2 be kind of like, let's go forward from here on in.
Because this is what it's only 6, isn't it, or is it 8 episodes?
Yeah.
Long?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you can't really explain too much more after how they ended that flashback.
I think
2.
There's with how they're insisting on explaining everything. He's virtually there, if not already there, for where we know him in Mandalorian season 2. So it can't be much more. But it's like that's half of the show is explaining all that. And in 2 episodes, all he's done in the present time is walk to the mayor's office. That's literally all he's done. And it's just is this really a decision that was made?
Well, I mean, I think also you do introduce a couple characters in this episode.
Yeah, but, it's for people that know the expanded Star Wars stuff. Like that stuff's cool. For me, I recognize the Wookiee. It means nothing in the grand scheme. It's like, cool, I've seen that Wookiee with Afra. Like, I'm expecting Afra to appear at some point now. Like, that's apart from that, it's just like he's just walked to the the mayor's office, and it felt really weird. It's like an actual real world DMV in there or something like that. It's just like, what am I watching? Why is Boba Fett being put on hold? I don't understand what. And then I don't know. This episode was weird. This didn't feel.
I think again, they every show kind of suffers from the whole let's catch you up, or let's tell you kind of how we got to this point, and I mean it's almost in every show at this point, with the exception of a few. But I don't see it going any further after this episode.
I hope not, because we're halfway through the season.
Well, logically, you can't. I mean, what else could you say? I mean, the only thing you show is him stalking Mando for what? That's about it.
True.
But up to that point, I think they need to start explaining the plot of the show. By episode 3. But I always go back to the fact that first episode could have done what the 2 episodes did, but
especially with him just walking to the mayor's office, that's all. That could have been in the first episode.
I think the flashbacks is fan service, but it kind of hinders the storyline and the plot of the show. It's I think the shows have to kind of figure out the balancing act of serving the fans and then serving the show, and what's best for I think I always go back to whatever's best for the show, do it. Don't I mean, the fans are important, don't get me wrong, but you can get really stuck and muddled if you continue to give.
Yeah, because then you end up with Rise of Skywalker and no one wants to repeat it.
I will always defend that. I
adore that movie for reasons now.
I'm a constant defender of that. I think
it's so bad it's good.
I mean, personally, and I'm a Star Wars fan I'm a big Star Wars fan just as much as everybody else that listens to the show, and I liked what they tried to do with that, what they tried to do with that movie. Did it execute correctly? No, but I appreciated they did it, and like I think a lot of people didn't appreciate the fact that they did try to do something different, whether that was successful or not.
That
But
movie's biggest problem is it tried to be an ending to a different trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole problem with these, not to get a tangent about the sequel trilogies, but I think the sequel trilogies just kind of suffered from just hanging on to these older characters. I think, like the legacy characters are cool, but like I personally I would have appreciated it more if it just followed the characters they introduced in that first sequel trilogy, versus like let's spend too much time, on these other characters that we've seen before. It's fun to see how it all ends for them, but in the end of the day, it really suffered. The movie suffered for it.
What it should have done is what I think every Star Wars needs to do is get the hell away from this time period.
Yeah, I think
it's too familiar.
Well, I mean, knowing the stuff I know, I think at the end, eventually, all that's going to happen. They're not going to hang on these. Well, the legacy characters are done. Like you might see hints or hair of some characters eventually down the line, but like from here on in, I think after I think in like a year or two, I think you're gonna see that they're gonna be more focused on like the more character, the characters that they're creating are on their own. I think like I mean again I appreciate seeing the legacy characters, but like it's like, man, I would love to see Disney's take on Star Wars versus like what George Lucas did, and then kind of follow suit. But, I think that's where Star Wars needs to do to kind of pull itself out of this hole.
It's in a creative rut right now. Like, obviously, you got stuff like Mandalorian. Like Mandalorian is really damn good. Like Book of Boba Fett. If Boba Fett wasn't in season 2 for as long as he was, and it's just like consigned to the Luke Skywalker role at the end.
Yeah.
If that's how, obviously not in the exact same way because that would make no sense. But if they brought Boba Fett in that sort of way and he was the end reveal, like this show, I would have enjoyed the show a lot better because it's stuff that I didn't know I would have needed. Like I still would have had the same problem of it's kind of a boring flashback to a train heist. There's weird choices in this show, and I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, okay. I say this conversation would be more like once the show ends. I think the conversation about where they're heading might change. I think up to this point, a lot of people are questioning like why, because of the choices they made in the last 2 episodes. But I go back to Mando being the example of what they needed to do in the first place. I think it handles like, okay, here's a little bit of the legacy characters, but we're focusing more on creator-owned characters, that they've already that they've created. Boba Fett, I think, can do that or could do that because essentially he's a new character, anyways. I mean, he's
such a blank slate in the original trilogy that people are going, oh, it's not my Boba Fett. Like you read any like the expanded stuff, it's kind of like, my Boba Fett's.
I think that's the problem. Yeah, I think that's the problem though. Is a lot of people are focusing more on because like Boba Fett got more expanded on, like his backstory got more fleshed out in those expanded universe. But like, I think people just need to realize that like. That's not all canon, and they're going to cherry pick all that stuff. But like, essentially, Boba Fett is a blank slate because he's I mean, when we first met the guy in Empire, it was a guy just standing there talking, and then the last thing we see is him falling into a space vagina.
I'm gonna have to cut that out. That was a hard.
I'm sorry. But like that's it. I mean, you can't really claim something that is just not there, like it. I think people just are clawing and hooking into that expanded universe and just hoping that like everything that they like becomes true. It's like, I don't want to. I know people are going to be a little disappointed eventually. It's not like the expanded
but if you
universe.
actually look at it, like I'm pretty certain he says something verbatim in this episode that he does in the young Boba Fett does in the comics. It's just kind of like
yeah. I mean, they're gonna cherry pick, but they're not gonna like translate one for one everything that happens in that, like, because some of that stuff is interesting, but some of it is just garbage, and like it's like you don't like. There's stuff in that expanded universe that is really cool concept, like I mean, there's a book of like zombie, a zombie plague, that would be interesting to see on Star Wars, but like. I don't want to. I think people should just kind of like approach this show as like this is a new character, but that's impossible though because of the name. So unfortunately,
yeah. Though the irony of there's nothing really to grasp onto from the old stuff.
Just a cool looking costume, and that's it. Yeah. He's a talking head essentially, But
well, just to move it on, it's just something funny that I saw online is people saying that they've made Boba Fett like a white savior in this episode, and it's like Morrison's not white in this.
Yeah, he's like what?
He's from New Zealand, but he's got like is it Maori? I think that's how you pronounce it, Maori. Like he's a bit Scottish and Irish
he's like
in there as well.
indigenous, right?
Yeah, I think so. But it's just like either way, it's like he's obviously not white. It's just like
I think you need to go back and actually see who the guy comes from.
It's just like maybe look up what
from,
white
Chicago,
savior is. Maybe look up the definition of white savior.
Well, I think they just see I think that the people who say that, no offense to you guys, but come on, man. Like, just because he's got light skin does not mean, oh my god, that's
He's
very,
very clearly not white.
Yeah,
like,
I took that as he's repaying them for what they did for him. Like that's how I took it. I don't know, like I don't see the white, like white savior in any of that, man. I can see where you get it from, but then you dig a little deeper and like that guy's not a white guy, It's
it was just like this little funny, like really, that's an
funny.
argument. Like, are these people really grasping at straws that badly that? And now saying that an obvious not white guy is a white guy. Okay, that's where we're gonna go with this now. But,
it's like calling Tracy Morgan like a white savior too. It's like
it'll probably happen as well.
Oh my god,
it'll probably happen.
But I took that as like he's repaying them. He's connected, obviously connected with the tribe leader, and like he's developing feelings for these people, in like maybe being gracious for keeping him alive.
And it's like I get the whole fact that they're clearly going to come into play at some point. Like, everything from these flashbacks are obviously going to come into. I'm at the point where I'm not sure I can call them flashbacks because they're the majority of the episode. We're getting a couple of the show's back to front. You usually have the modern day stuff and then the relevant flashback, not like a bit of modern day and then you flashback. It's a choice. It's a choice that I think I make clear on that.
Yeah, I think personally, I think they should focus on what's ahead of them versus what's behind.
Yeah, because the whole him leading the mob of Tatooine is the interesting bit.
Well, I see that as it'll come into play when he's like obviously taking over the Hutt clan, that maybe that plays into into that the leadership qualities.
He's gonna go get the Tusken Raiders. He's gonna come back with them. He's gonna take it over. That's
and I'll be honest with you. On the sidebar, I'm surprised no one has said that they've watered down Boba Fett, and that's the least thing I've heard in any of the conversations about this show, is that they're just I don't think they watered down the character at all, because really
there's nothing to water down. Really.
There's maybe 15 minutes of actual footage of this guy, in the last 20th century, but I mean, the fans are. I'm surprised the fans aren't going, because he does come off as a newbie, you know, and I always equated that to being like being a bounty hunter, a feared bounty hunter, and being a boss of a syndicate are completely different things. And like
Oh,
that was actually said in the show too. He's like, you know, like from the mayor, he's like, I can't remember the actual quote, but he basically said that like this isn't, you know, being a bounty hunter and being a crime syndicate boss are two different things, you know. And I think that I love the fact that he's not really rattled about any of this. You know, like even when the Hutts come into play, I think that was just like I felt like he was like really stern and like they were kind of speaking the truth. You know, it's like, you know, like you got two Gamorrean guards and a bounty hunter by your side, and that's it. Maybe a droid, you know. And,
yeah.
But I did like the Hutts. You know, I thought that was pretty.
I say it was cool to actually see, you know, different space slugs. It's like, oh, cool. Jabba's not the only one. They actually exist. Obviously, I know there's more than one because, you know, like, there's a little baby thing in Clone Wars that's hideous and horrendous, but
it's very like they're disgusting looking things, are right?
Yeah,
like,
it's just like
too overly. But
I could have watched like a good 20-minute conversation between those two or those three, I should say. Like, just give me that. Like, that would have been amazing. But no, we get this Tusken Raider train heist, and I just.
I always go back. I think I always go back to they're trying to serve the fan, like in a way. I think they're trying to like overly serve the fan base with those flashbacks. And
who are they serving with a train heist, though?
I understand why the train heist was there. It's like, you know, the train was picking these people off, and I think he.
Yeah, but why a train?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's just it's just a weird choice.
I guess.
Just like a weird choice to do. Like, especially when, you know, you got the obvious indigenous people allegory, and like other outer worlders colonizing this planet that is theirs. Like, it writes itself, but you go for a train. I know. Maybe I'm just, you know. Maybe I'm the dumb one. I don't understand anything, but it's just like you got another story like right there.
I think it's just a choice that they're making. That's just a choice. I always look at it as it's just their choice. You know,
yeah,
like that's what they're making.
I don't know. Maybe it's the impression I got from the book of Boba Fett. Like, they're going for something slightly different, a bit more. I can't think of the word for it.
Sophisticated.
Yes, sophisticated is probably a better word for it. And it's like, oh, but here's this action scene with train heist. It's like, okay. A bit more highbrow, going for a bit something else. But no, it's like it could devolve into a train heist. Like, you could. It's fine.
I like the interaction with the swoop bikes. Okay, for you guys, people like the fans that are listening that are from the '80s. Anybody notice that there was an '80s? She's an '80s star, and pretty much a lot of famous like '80s movies. She was in that scene in the bar, and like I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that was happening. Jennifer Beals from like I'm talking to an audience that probably don't even know what the heck I'm talking about, but like
Jennifer Beals.
Yeah, she was in Flashdance. Like, she's like an '80s star. She's from the '80s. She's like but like I didn't even know that. Like I seen her like I seen her name in the end. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. God, I sound old, don't I?
I was gonna say, what a random get. What was she in the bar?
She was the lady sitting in the bar with the guy when his biker.
Oh, she was the. Oh, I can never remember what the species is called. No, she had. She has the tendril hair. The tendrils. I can't think. Oh, what are they called?
She's the dancer lady from Return of the Jedi that was on Jabba's like.
Oh, she's supposed to be the same one.
No, I don't think she's the same one, but like I think she's the same species.
Yeah. Madame Garza or Garza.
But I think that lady died in Return of the Jedi, if I remember correctly.
I can't remember actually.
I think
Was it this episode where they blue-balled me with the Rancor?
Yeah,
it was, wasn't
it? That was funny. I thought it was funny.
I was like, "There's no way that thing's still alive." Like, I'm pretty certain I saw it die. And it's like, "Oh, it's empty." God damn.
Would it be funny if it was like Baby Rancor though?
I was waiting for something like that, and it's just like, oh
yeah.
No, we had a baby. No, this show's missing like its Baby Yoda moment.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a small cute thing for the protagonist to have, but it's missing that sort of a moment.
Again, there's one other thing I'm super happy to see though. Max Rebo is still alive. Thank God.
He's the blue elephant thing,
like the elephant guy, with the piano.
Max Rebo, that made me laugh with week one. Like everyone's talking about Rebo. It's like it's just a damn blue elephant. Like maybe on screen for like 30 seconds in the original trilogy.
Don't speak ill of the Max Rebo, man. Like best band of the '80s, man. Yeah, I think again, I guess I'm singing a tune every week. Like I think it gets more interesting towards the end of the season. Like obviously,
I said it week one, and I'm fully expecting it to kick into gear. It's just so far these flashbacks. The show's not even bad. It's not bad. It's perfectly fine. I just feel it's totally unnecessary.
I think the expectations are a little high on it, seeing that it's the character everybody wants to see back. Now he's got his own show, and I think the expectations the bar is set a lot higher.
I don't think it helps as well when you have people being like, "Oh yeah, the trailers are the first 15 minutes of the first episode because we're trying to hide everything." And it's like you've had nothing to hide. That's why you're using 15 minutes of the first episode because nothing's happened.
It showed you exactly what was going on.
It's like, we're not even going to tell you what the show's about. It's just kind of like because it's not about anything so far. Like, just kick it into gear, please.
Well, all I'm glad is like it doesn't get into the minutia like the prequels did with like the logistics of crime syndicate.
I tell you, I was expecting it. We went into the mayor's office. I'll tell you that now. Just like, here we go. Getting Trade Federation flashbacks. It's like, oh no. Half expecting those guys to just walk in.
that I do not like that the mayor's assistant. I think he's just like, I'm waiting for that.
No, he was really he's really out of place. Like I think my problem with the whole mayor's bit, it's too actual worldy for Star Wars. If that makes sense.
No, like 100%. Like, didn't the prequels have that same problem? Like, they just kind of dived into like the economics of like
a little bit, but it felt more The Office than it did Star Wars. Yeah. It's like, did they make the wrong show? Like, did the scripts get switched? Like, what's going on?
Is Michael Scott gonna go bursting into the scene?
Like Ricky Gervais just does that weird dancing. Because My Office is the original, like the correct Office, and not the dragged out American.
I just speak blasphemy to you.
Any show with a US remake, it's always like. No,
surprised I didn't watch any of The Office in America or UK. So, didn't get it, didn't like it. So
I never really watched it. But that's a different story. It just felt weird to me, this whole episode, and it's like none of it's horrendously bad. None of it's even bad. It's just kind of like
It's kind of in the middle. It's been like that since episode 1.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not.
Ironically, I might have expected more from a Boba Fett show, and I'm probably getting exactly what a Boba Fett show should have been. No.
I think you're getting
acceptably meat. No,
to be honest, I'll be honest with you, probably getting a little bit less if it was actually the same Boba Fett from the original, like the from the Empire's.
Movie, I'm at the end of the day, like I'm glad they're doing something with this character and giving him something to do, even if I don't think it's actually anything currently. But seeing, he's not just a black and white bounty hunter. It's like, the whole Tusken Raider bit and getting his own gaffy stick like that. The gaffy stick stuff was cool. It's just everything surrounding and how we got that stick.
I like the whole because the Tusken Raiders have just been like I don't know backdrop for everything they've ever done and I think that's they're interesting characters because no one's ever explored those what I mean I'm sure some people are thinking it's really boring and it's not there's not enough pew 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 lasers or anything like that but I kind of like it because it does have I feel like you could attach an allegory to those people, and it could be very interesting.
Oh, I mean, they're absolutely an allegory.
Yeah, I mean, they're a walking, talking allegory at this point.
Obviously, people won't, want to accept the fact that they're a walking, talking allegory, but
And I'm pretty sure that those people have voted for a certain person a couple years ago, so not going to get political. Not going to get political. Not going to invoke them.
Yeah. There's an allegory in everything.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's I mean, my Star Wars. I think a lot of people they think Star Wars. They think flying ships and laser pistols and stuff like that, and laser swords. But I think you could get interesting stuff out of characters like the Tusken Raiders because it's no one's they're a blank slate. All you've ever seen of these characters is them being very angry and swinging a stick, at somebody.
It's like here's a stick, here's a yell, and it's just kind of I wonder what that's talking for.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see how he communicates with them. It's sort of like a.
So I really like the sign language they did in Mando. Was that in this? I can't remember if it was or not.
Yeah. You see Boba doing it. He's doing some sign language, but it's I think that's an interesting thing because how do you communicate with a species that you don't understand and they don't understand you? So you have to figure out a way of communicating. And I thought they did a really good job of coming up with a solution to that problem.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree. There's a lot of interesting.
I still want to see what they look like.
Done. Yeah, that's part of me is really hoping this show does that. just knock your helmet off. Just take your helmet.
It's very interesting to see if they go there on that. But who knows?
Do they look like the normal people? I say normal people. I mean normal as in human people. But, not an alien. No.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
never know.
Interesting to see though. Maybe they'll go there. Maybe they won't. I don't know.
I assume they will. It's Star Wars. It has to explain everything.
What's the over and under that you see at any other characters that in the show?
I mean, pretty high. Especially when you've got Morrison being like, "Oh, wait to episode 7." Actually, did he say 7?
Yeah, I think he said 7.
I literally saw something earlier about this, and I can't.
Yeah. Well, saying I can't wait to episode 7. It's you get only one more episode after that. If that episode isn't interesting or exciting, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to say, "Hey, can't wait to episode 4." Episode 7 and 8 should better be very exciting or interesting. So.
I only sounded really confused then because I was like, I'm certain I thought it was 6 episodes. So actually saying episode 7 out loud just really threw me for a loop. So it is 8 episodes, yeah?
Yeah, it's 8 episodes.
All right, cool. My brain just shut down. It's just like,
It's okay. Everybody's.
Yeah, the towards the end, the way these Disney Plus shows have been going, it's I expect something. And especially from the Star Wars stuff, they've really set a precedent now. You got, Luke Skywalker cameo in there. You got to do something big now.
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe not big, but I'm expecting a character reveal for something.
Yeah,
I mean, whether it's something like Bo-Katan shows back up, or Sabine or someone else. Yeah. It's just hey, this thing needs to happen now, and then it sets up the next season.
Right. It's interesting because Boba takes place after Mando. So
yeah.
you know, and like keeping track of the timeline of these shows and the movies, it's like mind numbing because like it's almost as worse as keeping track of the timeline on the MCU, but like not as bad. But, you know.
So the MCU's fine. It's just like it just goes forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You occasionally jump back, but for the most part, it's just where Star Wars is like, no, we're gonna go here, now we're gonna go here, but it's all going to be in the same like 60-year period.
Yeah, I think when you get down to it, I think you're right. I think they just need to get out of this. Once they get out of the era of the Skywalker era, I think
like even going like further back, like High Republic era. Like I know that's the obvious direction they're going to go, because why else would you have the High Republic being set up in the books and all that? Like,
yeah,
you're clearly going to go back to that, and you know the whole Old
yeah.
Republic remakes coming out on the Switch. Like, yeah, you're going back there. I want to see them go forward.
Yeah, I want to see more creator-owned characters versus like the legacy characters, because like again, I don't want to be a broken record. I'd much rather see new characters versus like see where the older characters are. And I mean, you could throw the older characters occasionally in these shows, and it'd be fine. But I think one, it sometimes detracts from the actual character of the actual story.
Like with that, I can't remember the Wookiee's bounty hunter's name in this. No, the one
I can't remember.
If that leads to like Afra and something legitimately different and interesting, cool, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah.
No, you use use a character everyone knows and apparently, like I say, apparently loves. Everyone loves Boba Fett for some reason. To introduce someone like that, a bit like how obviously Mando was new, but it had the Boba Fett look to it, so people.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it kind of like the Mando thing is kind of like a combination of new and old, because it's like he has the new character because it's like a brand new character, but it also has the crutch of looking like Boba Fett. So it's gonna appeal to everybody that likes Boba Fett. So
So hey, remember that Boba Fett movie we were gonna make, or his Mandalorian?
Yeah,
now we're gonna make a Boba Fett show. Like, okay.
I definitely would like the Dr. Aphra show. Like the only way that would be more interesting is like kind of veer away from what they did in the comics, because like what they did in the comics with that show is, I mean, with that character is kind of like what we've been saying we don't want in the first, because like she interacts with a lot of like older characters, so.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing, with you can say the comics have done that story, and you can do something different with that character now, like tell a new story that's not hindered by everything else. Like.
Yeah, or just replace the characters with other characters. I mean, like she could interact with Mando, and just I don't know, just like.
Oh yeah, exactly.
There's newer things. I mean, there's things you could do to get around, like weaving in and out of.
Actually, can she interact with Mando? Because isn't Afro in the Vader era?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. I mean, you could take the character and kind of introduce her now, and kind of, I mean, it would still work in a way, and just kind of like
doing Ahsoka, have a slightly keep everything and have her slightly older.
Yeah, and like.
Well, obviously, you've got to have her older because she's, we've seen her grow up.
Yeah. But... I mean, the only problem you have with that is like you're eventually going to have to get to. Oh, she interacted with Vader at least once or twice, which they don't seem to have a problem with, anyways. Doing that. So just bring.
I mean, interacting with old characters is fine. It's just you need to have the interesting forward direction to back it up. Right?
Yeah, I think they focus, like when they bring these legacy characters in, like not recently. I think what they did with Luke and Mando was interesting, because it was like they brought him in, but they didn't make him the focal point of that episode or show. No. It's like it was just like a surprise. He's here, and then he just left. And
he it was cool to see Luke, but it was very much a typical cameo of hi, bye. It's like, oh,
yeah, I'm here, I'm gone.
He just came, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think the only outlier is like Ahsoka, because obvious reasons.
Yeah, she was set up, and then
yeah.
You
sort
could,
of backward
Luke was kind of
modifications.
set up in that show, but at the same time, it's like, oh, random Jedi's going to show up. Hey, it's Luke. I know exactly where you are. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Book of Boba Fett episode 2. It's fine. Yeah, I
Hey,
will. I will complain about everything I find tedious and boring in this show all live long day, but it's fine. It's not bad. It's fine.
One more thing, if you don't mind.
Sure.
If Boba had to interact with any characters, legacy characters, which characters would you want him to interact with?
I mean, the only interesting one will be Han, but you're not going to get Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I don't believe these rumors of like, DH Harrison Ford. It's like, I think Harrison Ford would rather shoot himself than actually show
I was gonna say, I think the people that write these stories don't know Harrison Ford because like he was ready to kill himself off in Empire, so he doesn't necessarily he doesn't even like acting anymore. So like I don't know, it would be a stretch to get him back. It would be a little interesting to see.
It'd be interesting to see him show up, but it's.
Yeah, I mean, you could get Chewie.
Why would he? Like...
You can get Chewie, though. But like, I mean, I think Luke is the only other one that would. I mean, you got Lando too, but like, other than that, there's nobody. There's nobody left. Wedge Antilles has no connection to the guy, and like, I don't know. I think what they have in store for the show is better than what I hear rumors of.
I hope so.
Like,
I wouldn't be upset or mad about a young Han. So, like, actually, it's not even going to be a young one. It had to be a DH, isn't it? Like,
they would have to DH him like a couple years, because take his.
Like even Darth Maul's dead at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look,
I can't remember.
Okay, interesting thing. Could you bring back Amelia Clark? Do you think she's around?
She'd have to be a lot older.
Older, yeah.
Because there was rumors of that, or I saw someone talk about it. So, you know what, I like that idea. And you sit there and you go, no, because that's like just after the prequels, and this is after the originals, so it's a good 30 years. It's like you could do it with a bit of like practical effects and makeup, but it would. Actually, you just put a grey streak in her hair and you call it.
I was gonna say, there you put a grey wig, and then
or just say she's part of a race that doesn't age that much, and you go.
Or just put a grey wig on her and put some prosthetics, a little bit, like a little jowl on her. But like,
it would be interesting if she showed up.
I mean, like, because you see where she ends off in Solo. She obviously is taking over that crime syndicate, and. It'd be interesting to see, like, I don't know, like, because, like, those characters haven't really met, but, like, it would be interesting to see, like, I don't know, there was something interesting there. I don't know, I'm just spitballing on this one, but, like,
I mean, they've been talking about the whole, this is going to, like, change Star Wars, and it's going to do all this and that, and, connecting the crime syndicates, it might be a bit weird, but it's...
I mean,
because that seems to be like, it seems to be a logical point, doesn't it? Like, he's taking over this syndicate. Like, who say he doesn't go to like Mandalore and take that over and make like his own empire?
Well, I mean, like, I look at this. I always looked at these crime syndicate as like Italian mob. Like they're always feuding and warring over territories and and like it wouldn't be a stretch to see that because I think if I remember correctly, I might be remembering incorrectly, but they did end on Solo on Tatooine, right? Or am I not remembering that correctly?
I can't remember that movie. I couldn't tell you if that's by
choice. It was a desert planet.
I say a desert planet in Star Wars. It doesn't narrow it down.
But I mean,
every planet in Star Wars is a desert.
It's true. It's either a desert or snow, one of the two. Or actually forest. It's like three.
Or to mix it up for a lot, it's a white planet by this time. It's salt.
Or water. It's always a theme.
Yeah.
All these themes are always the planet. It's not. You ever notice that about Star Wars? It's like it's always extreme when it comes to like the
Here's a forest moon. The moon's an entire moon's a forest.
Here's a moon that's on fire. That constantly or like always on snow. It's like. where's Earth? You know, where's the planet? There's got to be a planet like Earth where it's just kind of perfect, you know. But
I mean, you would have thought so. It's like, hey, we got the Death Star plans from this beach planet. The entire planet's a beach. It's like, okay, what a nice, happy place to get these horrific Death Star plans from.
And I also would love to see what Cloud City looks like on the ground, man. Like, I want to see that. I always like when I seen Empire, I was like, so how does this work? Is it just like the whole planet is just air? You know, is there a physical ground on the bottom, or
I mean, it could be a gas giant.
That's true. Yeah.
So like they all have to live in weird little city pods. That'd be really
Cloud
cool.
Cities.
Like Cloud City is the capital, and like everything else is just like a Nimbus City and whatever. I've exhausted all my cloud names that I know. Pick a cloud type and put city at the end of it.
Puffy clouds, you know.
But no, having different syndicates would make a lot of sense. You know, as you say, like, you know, they're always like going for territory and warring over that. So having someone like a media, like, is it Kira?
Kira, yeah.
Yeah, like having her being like, oh, Jabba the Hutt's dead. Let's go over here and get Tatooine.
Yeah, that's how the Italian mob works. It's like they end up moving in on the territory.
Does this mean Scorsese's going to do season 2?
Nope. I'm pretty sure he's
or at least consult.
On that.
Like, just consult on those. You're the foremost, aforementioned foremost expert.
You 99% of your filmography takes place on Italian, as Italians. Like we like to use you as a consultant on this,
You know, even the movie The Irishman doesn't have an Irishman in it. It's all Italians. It's true.
God love you. God love you, Scorsese.
Yeah, good old Marty. He's cool. Yeah, I'd be interested. Like, I'm still interested to see where this show goes.
Yeah,
because I'm like, no matter what happens, I'm expecting something big and a massive at the end. It's just
we always like everything always happens towards the end of the season anyway. So like I think unfortunately that's how it goes. Like I kind of feeds the fuel of like the formula talk, but like it. I think people are. I think at the very least, I think people are not going to be disappointed by the end of the season because it does change. It gives Boba Fett a new status quo in this universe at the very end.
I mean, that's apparently what the first episode was going to do.
Well, he'll complete his journey at the very least. That's it.
I mean, at least he looks cool now. No.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wearing a toga, so.
I mean, he kind of is.
Yeah, he's got a little tunic, but like, I still love that costume. It's like, I love this costume way better than the OG costume.
Yeah. Just quickly, do we know where the Darksaber is currently?
It depends. Like, I think
does Mando
this
still
takes
have
place. I mean, because I think this takes directly after Mando.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then yes, he still has it. It all depends on how season 3 runs too. I mean, season 3 might take place the day after.
I need Din to show up and Boba take the Darksaber away.
I mean, that would be interesting because
I need Boba Fett to claim Mando.
That would expand his territory, so to speak. I mean, like once he has a Darksaber, he is in charge of those Mandos. So. Yeah. And that would really.
And because we know, from Clone Wars, we know the Mandalorians are fashionable and they have to thematically represent the current leader in their armor with Darth Maul. Like everyone just look like Boba Fett. Just have 100 million Boba Fetts flying around.
No,
all in the green and red. Right. That's what everyone wants.
I don't know. Yeah. Or just half-naked Marine guards. I mean, that's even better.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to stop watching it. I probably will complain, but you just have to, wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think when you get down to the end of the day, it's like patience. The story the way the story unfolds, I think people will at least appreciate what they try to do. if it didn't, I mean, if it hasn't landed, at least I'll appreciate it.
I appreciate what they're attempting to do. Is the execution is just very, not grating. That's the wrong word.
Yeah.
It's just I just find it dull, to be honest. It's a very
so far,
yeah. Like it's episode 3. We're coming to the halfway, the halfway point. We're a quarter of the way through the show. Like I'm expecting something to kick off.
Something's about to go down.
Yeah. And unless episode 3 is just literally him walking back from the mayor's office, then I don't know what to do. Right.
I think that'd be hilarious. Like, kind of subvert the expectation. Like, it's basically the whole episode of him just walking back and talking.
No.
When I was,
as long as the conversation's interesting. But
it's true.
Maybe
shoot something, man.
Who knows? No, you just get back in the back to tank. Just do something, please. Oh yeah. That's 15 minutes of me complaining about Book of Boba Fett. So thank you for joining, everyone, and we'll catch you all next time. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.